All right. Okay, everybody can hear everybody?
Yes.
Yeah. All right, we will proceed. We are going to do our Excellence in Catholic Education Award right now. Colin, did you want to say something?
Yes, for sure. Very much, Chair. I'd just like to explain what this award is all about. So the Excellence in Catholic Education Award, this is an annual Alberta-wide honor presented by the Council of Catholic School Superintendents of Alberta. It's to educators who demonstrate through exemplary teaching and faith leadership a commitment to nurturing the spiritual, academic, and personal growth of our students. Recipients are celebrated for integrating Catholic values, fostering community, and preparing students to be active citizens. This award highlights educators who model the mission of Catholic schools through faith, service, and excellence in teaching. This award is presented each year to educators who exemplify the spirit of faith-filled teaching and leadership in their communities. The Excellence in Catholic Education Award recognizes passionate Catholic teachers in Alberta who've gone above and beyond to guide youth as they grow into exemplary Catholic citizens. It is a wonderful day to have Jamie with us this afternoon. And Neil, I'll turn it over to you if you have a few words to say.
Well, thank you. Good afternoon, everyone. Today is a very special day, and I'm just so glad to be able to come to you and actually share in this day with Jamie. You know, folks, there's times in your life when people come into your life and you just go, man, would I like to be more like her? Or man, would I like to be more like him? And from the moment I met Jamie, I wanted to be more like her. And I just love what she just oozes positivity. She oozes her faith. And that is so clear with her interaction with her students, with her staff, as a mom, as a daughter, as a sister. And she just lives her faith. And it's just prevalent in everything she does. She's one of the first stops I get to see every morning when I go down the hallway to greet everyone. And you go into her room and she just has that big smile, and kids are just crowded around her. They just love her. And I think if you come to our school, not only the kids love her, we all love her. And she makes not only me a better person, she makes us a better person. And so it is my honor to, when I had the chance to nominate her, I would nominate her again next year, and I would have nominated her 10 years going on forward. So it is my privilege once again. When you read this explanation of the Excellence in Catholic Education, that would be her complete resume. It's absolutely wonderful to have somebody, and I'm very proud and very privileged to have her as not only a colleague, a great staff member, but also as a friend. So thank you, Jamie.
Thank you.
I've seen you from this high.
I know. Thank you very much. Thank you, everyone.
Yeah, you absolutely.
Thanks for coming in.
Yeah. Well, everyone can take a step to this way, a little bit more. Yeah, and then nice and close. Perfect. Well, no, you don't get too close, but like in that. Yep, that's good. Awesome. 1, 2, 3. Perfect. Thank you.
Yeah, because I'll go and check this here. It's in the mail already. Yeah. Thanks, guys.
Thank you.
There's more.
I have to run. Actually, I'm gonna go teach. Thank you, everyone.
You're
I don't know if I'm
welcome.
supposed to say anything, but I'm very grateful. Thank you so much for coming. Thank you, guys.
Congratulations.
Thank you. Oh, my first, that's a good one to have, I'm so proud. You're good, you're good.
Okay, we are going to do the approval of minutes, if I can have someone do that.
So moved.
Mr. Hellman, and all in favor? And then approval of the agenda.
I'll move that, Chair.
Okay, thank you. And all in favor? Okay, so now we're gonna skip over to, what's the number here? 9.4, the approval of the 3-year plan. And we have guests with us. Welcome again, David and our guys here. I don't know, do they want to introduce or?
Yeah, so annually, boards are required to submit a 3-year capital plan to the ministry. We've been very fortunate that we've had the bulk of our capital plan addressed through the awarding of Holy Trinity Academy. And as a result, our capital plan needed to be modified. So we had an opportunity to work with the ministry and work with FWBA through David Cox and through a company called Capital Project Management. And we have 2 representatives from Capital Project Management with us today, Dan and Matt. And they were able to put together a new capital plan that addresses what the facility requirements and needs will be into the future. So I'm going to turn this over to David. If you wanted to start us off with the capital plan, that would be great.
You can join us up at the table.
Oh, and actually, I am going to turn it over to Dan
Okay.
and Matt anyways. So,
Okay.
as Greg said, Dan and Matt with Capital Project Management are online, and they've redeveloped the capital plan in consultation with our office and with our previous meetings with the board. And I think Dan's going to present that.
Thank you.
Okay. Should I just go through the capital plan briefly then?
Yes, please.
So number 1 on the priority of capital projects is St. Patrick's School, which presently has a utilization of over 90%. Originally, it was discussed as being a modernization because the school is in need of an upgrade for sure. Built around 1950, and they were having the mechanical electrical systems at their life's end, as well as a number of other major modernization requirements. It was realized that the cost of replacement would certainly be within the 20% of modernization. And so it was thought that it should become a replacement school instead. And so that is number 1 of the priorities, is to upgrade St. Patrick's School via a replacement new school on the same site. And we'd be able to address all of the infrastructure requirements that those students should enjoy. Number 2 on the priorities is Mother Teresa School. This school too has a number of items that are aging in terms of the building systems, it being built in 1980. This one would require more investigation to determine if, in fact, a modernization would be warranted or a new school replacement school. But because the school is somewhat newer, it's not necessarily evident just at a first blush. So we're placing it as a modernization with the anticipated modernization costs roughly 2/3 the cost of replacement. Number 3 is the Notre Dame Academy. There's an opportunity we believe coming, well, we know that it's coming with the advent of a new recreation rec center being built within Medicine Hat that will have this building vacant. And so because the Notre Dame Academy has enjoyed all kinds of success in terms of its popularity, already the Notre Dame Academy uses half the YMCA gym on a full-time basis. It was thought that it would make good sense that the Catholic School Board acquire the YMCA when it becomes available. And so a value scoping study was done on that, and it indicated that even, well, with the acquisition, there would certainly be more classroom space available, and another 4 classrooms would become a part of the Notre Dame Academy, as well as the gym and weight room. But even with that acquisition and the projected enrollment increase and switching the grade configurations from 6 to 9 to grades 5 to 8, the anticipated utilization would still be 83%. And there would be a good deal of extra operation and maintenance costs in taking this large facility on, because the extra area would not necessarily be proportionate to the extra students that the school would be able to fit. But presently, the academy has to rent extra gym space outside of even the YMCA and what the school has. And so all those rental costs that they are presently paying would be then channeled, or the majority would be channeled towards operation and maintenance. And those costs are all covered by the students who pay for being in the sports academy, which incidentally is currently around 80% of the student body. So it's a very popular academy as far as academies go. So that would be priority 3, but in the event that the YMCA, the existing YMCA became available soon, then that would just jump right up the list, and it would be presented as such in the plan. To just be ready and waiting, basically, that being able to take advantage of at any time. And finally, the priority 4 is St. Mary's School, which is also planned to be a right sizing and modernization. Right now, the school is not fully utilized, and so although it's an old school and is in need of modernizations, that would take place, and at that time the school would be adjusted, and so that the school is closer to what is required by the student body, and so that the operation and maintenance costs are more affordable for the district. And those are the 4 priorities as indicated in the master capital plan.
I would just maybe add to that, overall, I think district utilization is quite good. We see utilization around 75% across the district, especially in the elementary schools where it's approaching 80%, which is fantastic. I think it's probably district-wide about 10% higher than it was 10 years ago. Through the prudent decision-making of this board and past boards, we've certainly seen utilization across the district increase significantly. So the capital plan this time around, especially with Trinity coming on board, is looking more at some of the more aged facilities and what might need to be done to bring those up to a more modern 21st century learning standard versus actually addressing utilization issues in the district. Utilization being quite good.
Thank you very much. So the recommended motion for the trustees is, be it resolved that the Board of Trustees for the Medicine Hat Catholic Board of Education approve the 2027 to 2030 3-year capital plan and the 2027 to 2036 10-year planning priorities as presented, and that the Secretary Treasurer submit the plans and reports to Alberta Education and Childcare.
I think just before we do that, Dick had a question. Or should we do it after? Okay. All right, we'll have the motion and then we'll have
So moved.
Mr. West, thank you. All in favor? Oh, no, we have the discussion, sorry. Mr. Mastel.
That is the proper procedure for the motion
Yeah.
to proceed the discussion.
Right.
I guess my question is to Dan or to Dave, I guess, whoever wants. I'd like to know specifically what factors there are that places a modernization of Mother Teresa ahead of a modernization of St. Mary's. If you look at simply the age of the building, Mother Teresa is a much newer facility than St. Mary's. Has there been work done that I'm not aware of at St. Mary's that would make it a lower priority than Mother Teresa?
It's, to be honest, we were sort of following the discussion that was led by the school district in terms of need. It's not entirely based on the school comparing one building to another. It's also based on just the perceived need of how that school is able to perform the function that it is. And so I agree with you that it seems strange that a school built in 1980 would be ahead of a school that's, I'm not sure when St. Mary's is built, but it's quite a bit older. So I guess it's just, I think too that there was some proposed discussion about reconfiguration of grades and students in other schools, i.e. the French students moving to to St. Mary's. And so perhaps they would like to see those things happen before they can identify the actual need. If you were to ask for a replacement and get it, or modernization, I should say, for St. Mary's right now, it would be based entirely on what you're doing right now, unless you have a formal plan and the numbers of students projected, you can identify those and create an argument. Then, it could be based on that, but otherwise it would be based on just what's there now in terms of students. So I guess the long answer, or the shorter answer to your question, is it's not just on the building condition. It has to do with the use of the building and how the board feels it needs to be addressed and when.
If I may elaborate to the trustees through the chair, there's other factors at play as well in terms of the Johnson Controls project. An awful lot of work was done through all the schools. So the infrastructure at St. Mary's School has been modernized through that $2 million activity. As well, there are some pressure points at Mother Teresa School that we aren't seeing at St. Mary's School. Very, very specifically, the aged and placement of the modulars there. So the HVAC system in the older modulars is failing, and we're not able to source parts easily for those systems. So we've essentially come to the end of the useful life of those modulars. Unfortunately, the placement of those modulars in the configuration of the school would make it very difficult to just put a new one in and replace the old one. There would have to be a reconfiguration of the modulars, which would be part of this modernization ask.
What impact on the placement of these priorities comes from the change in the population at St. Mary's that we're looking at in the fall, going down from its current population of around 450, I think, down to something of a couple hundred for the French immersion students. Is that factored into this at all?
Through the chair to Trustee Mastel, yes, and that's part of the right sizing component at St. Mary's. By right sizing the school strategically, the area capacity utilization of that school would be reduced, which then would actually increase our POM funding. So It's one of the mechanisms that the government incentivizes school boards for ensuring that the schools are used efficiently and effectively.
Thank you.
Also, I was concerned about the bathrooms at St. Mary's. Will they be fixed up before the French immersion kids go over there?
So as part of the IMR plan and the CMR plan, there's funds available for the
Okay.
modernization of
Yeah.
this one.
That was my concern about where.
We've had an initial drawing, and in fact, it will allow for, just like we're seeing with Holy Trinity Academy, the proposed kindergarten rooms having appropriate size toilets.
Good. Yeah, that was my concern about that. Okay, Mr. Maselli, you good? Did you have a question, Mr. Besson? All right, then we will go back to the motion. All in favor? Thank you.
Thank you.
All right, we're back to our regular meeting then. Thank you very much.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Thanks, David. Always nice to see you. Okay, we are going to go back to number 7, board communications. We don't have anything. Board number 8, parish relations committee. I don't have anything. I think we have a meeting next month. Just wrote on my calendar. Religious education coordinator report. I don't know if anybody had a chance to go through this, but it's very good. Like, Heather did a very good job of relating her report to Dean Cernicki's evaluation and how we are scoring on those points. And so I was very pleased to see that. And that's something that the ACSCA always asks for is our faith development and what's happening in our district. So they'll be happy to see that as well. Okay, board work plan, Mr. McPherson.
Thank you. So through the chair to the trustees, as part of the board work plan, we have the 26-27 boundary review completed. As a result of that, there are two motions. Both are really just administrative in nature. So the first change is with the result of Holy Trinity Academy being ready for, according to the plan, ready for use in March of 27. The plan is to transition the St. Francis Xavier students from the existing school into Holy Trinity Academy. In order just to bring closure to that process, we just want to definitively say those students are now Holy Trinity Academy students, and the boundary for Holy Trinity Academy would match the existing St. Francis Xavier boundary. So that would be the first motion. The second motion is another administrative aspect where the students, the boundaries currently allows for a flex zone in the communities of Desert Bloom and Canyon Creek, where students can either attend Notre Dame Academy or St. Mary's School. As a result of an analysis of the population, there are no students in those two communities who attend the normal programming at St. Mary's Academy. So we are recommending the removal of the flex zone for the communities of Desert Bloom and Canyon Creek as it relates to St. Mary's School. And that will position us for the 27-28 boundaries. So the first motion is be it resolved that the Board of Trustees for the Medicine Catholic Board of Education maintain the 26-27 boundaries as in 25-26, except for St. Francis Xavier School, which will transition to Holy Trinity Academy on or after March 1st, 27, when Holy Trinity Academy is open for the St. Francis Xavier School students.
Okay, we need someone to.
Chair.
Thank you, Mr. Kinch. Any discussion? All in favor? Okay, and then the second one,
is be it resolved that the Board of Trustees for the Medicine Hat Catholic Board of Education approve the redesign of the flex attendance area for the communities of Desert Bloom and Canyon Creek, designating Notre Dame Academy as the designated attendance area school for the students residing in those communities, and removing the St. Mary's School as an attendance option within the current flex zone.
Okay, if I can have someone, Mr. Hellman, thank you. Any discussion? All in favor? All right.
Thank you.
So now we have the 27-28 boundary review.
Yes. So thank you, Chair, and through the trustees, through the chair to all the trustees. This is a preemptive motion because a lot of things are transitioning now. We need to make sure that we understand what those boundaries are going to be starting in September of 27. So there's really four major components to the motions that you're being asked to vote on. First is setting the boundaries for the elementary attendance at Holy Trinity Academy, which will essentially mirror the current St. Francis Xavier and St. Michael's School. So those two schools will be merged into Holy Trinity Academy. The second aspect is setting the junior high attendance boundaries for Holy Trinity Academy. And those boundaries will mirror the revised St. Mary's School attendance zone. So we're just moving those students and boundaries to Holy Trinity Academy. The third component is dealing with the move of the French immersion students currently residing at the Cole St. John Paul II School to St. Mary's School for September 1st of 27. And the fourth component is the return of the English grade 6 students who are currently at St. Mary's School back to the Cole St. John Paul II School, which would result in St. John Paul II School being a K-6 in English stream. So that's the components of what you're being asked to vote on. And the first recommendation would then be it resolved that the Board of Trustees for the Medicine Hat Catholic Board of Education approve the Holy Trinity Academy grade K-6 natural attendance boundaries effective for the 27-28 school year.
Mr. Hellman?
I'll move that.
All in favor? I'm sorry, I forgot discussion, but. Okay, the second one?
The second motion is be it resolved that the Board of Trustees for the Medicine Hat Catholic Board of Education approve the Holy Trinity Academy grade 7 to 9 natural attendance boundaries effective for the 27-28 school year.
Can somebody, Mr. Hellman, thank you. Any discussion? All in favor? Okay, the third one?
The third motion is be it resolved that the Board of Trustees for the Medicine Hat Catholic Board of Education approve the redirection of the grade K-6 French immersion programming from a Cole St. John Paul II School to St. Mary's School effective for the 27-28 school year.
We can move that. Mr. Kinch, thank you. Any discussion? Yes?
Just, from the chair to Dwayne. Do we have how did the French immersion parents take that one? That one was, do we meet with the French immersion parents who call this John Paul?
With the initial meeting?
Yeah.
And how did they receive it?
Yeah.
Overall, I think there were parents that would have preferred to remain. But I think they understood their rationale, and Colin has a meeting coming up next week, I think, or the week after. That we'll be meeting with them at St. Mary's. And
St. Mary's is a great school in terms of their facilities. And they have a number of opportunities for students there they don't have over at JP2. And the school is in that gym shop it's just item after item that that school brings that for elementary kids. I think it's a really good move.
Any other questions or discussion? If not, all in favor? Okay. And then the last one.
There's actually two more.
Okay, yeah.
So the fourth one is, be it resolved that the Board of Trustees for the Medicine Catholic Board of Education approve the reconfiguration for the St. John Paul II School starting 27-28. This reconfiguration will see the grade 6 students who reside at the St. John Paul II School natural school boundary who are currently anticipated to attend grade 6 at Holy Trinity Academy transition back to St. John Paul II School, making St. John Paul II School an English grade K to 6 school.
Someone can move that. Mr. Hellman, thank you. Any discussion? Mr. Hellman?
Just through the chair to Greg, just help me with this, Greg. Then so we're going to have grade 6s at GP2 and grade 6s at Notre Dame, correct? Like we did last year, basically.
Through the chair to Trustee Hellman, yes.
And but those students also have the opportunity, if they want to go to the academy, to go to either Notre Dame or St. Mary's if they want to go to the academy. Is that correct?
Through the chair to Trustee Hellman, so in 27-28 there would be no academy at St. Mary's.
Right.
For grade 6. So the option would then be for those grade 6s to attend the sport academy at Notre Dame Academy.
Mr. Mastel.
Thanks, Chair, to Greg. What is the population anticipated to be at John Paul when the French students go to St. Mary's and the English speaking at the grade 6s go to John Paul? What does that do to, in a net difference in the population of John Paul? Can you give me a guess?
Through the chair to Trustee Mastel, yes, I can give you a guess. We would be cutting the school by about 40%.
So that would relieve the pressure at John Paul significantly.
Through the chair to Trustee Mastel, yes, and allow for potential growth of the English program within the South.
Okay, any other questions or comments? If not, all in favor? Okay, and one more.
The fifth motion is, be it resolved that the Board of Trustees for the Medicine Catholic Board of Education approve the rural designated boundaries effective for the 27-28 school year. So we just wanted to bring specific attention that the rural boundaries would change as well as the city boundaries.
Any questions? Mr. Mastel and then Mr. Kinch.
I was going to move the adoption of the motion.
Okay, then, okay. Okay, and any discussion? If not, all in favor? Okay, now approval of school fees, Mr. McPherson.
Thank you. So annually, as part of the board work plan, the school fees for the upcoming year are approved in March of 26. Amanda McCree, our Assistant Secretary Treasurer, has quarterbacked this project. And attached is a list of the school fees that we are charging currently with a recommended school fee for the upcoming year. Each of the schools and the school principals have an opportunity to provide what those amounts are, along with the justification for the updated school fee. So the recommendation is, be it resolved that the Board of Trustees for the Medicine Catholic Board of Education approve the 26-27 school fees as presented.
If I can get somebody to make that motion. Mr. Mr. Helmut, thank you. And any questions or comments?
Notice, sorry.
Go ahead.
I did notice there's a few there, we're up a few dollars on a number of things. I appreciate what Amanda has done to give us an explanation of why that is. I think for most schools, it's fairly obvious that it's dependent on your grade and dependent on what you're choosing. You're not paying all of these fees. It's very dependent on what your child is choosing to be a part of. So I just want to make that sure in the public that that's very clear that like McCoy, there's a very long list of fees, but students aren't paying all those fees, just they're choosing those fees. That's maybe a little less obvious in the elementary, but I think it's important to note that these fees are everything possible that the school could charge for it. They have to be on this list. That's correct me if I'm wrong, that's the government asked us to do that, correct?
To the chair, to Trustee Helmut, that is correct. So this is almost an all-inclusive list, and in many cases, the school councils or the parent associations provide funding. So even though the fee might be on this list, those costs may actually be covered through fundraising or other donations.
And we still have that waiver business as well too, right? If they can't afford it, they can
Correct.
ask for a waiver.
Correct. As part of our administrative procedure 505, there's a mechanism to either wholly or partially waive.
Yeah. And I think that's important, especially as a Catholic school board, that's there. Mr. West?
Do Eagle Butte students pay the football fee?
Through the chair to Trustee West, I can't say definitively, but my understanding is any student participating, whether a Monsignor McCoy student or an Eagle Butte student would pay that fee. If you wish, I can get that in.
Oh, no, waiting for that. Curious.
Any other questions or comments? If not, I'll call a question. All in favor? Okay. All right, we have done the 3-year capital plan, so we'll go on for information items. 10.1, strategic priorities update, Dr. Drishti.
Thank you, Chair, and through the chair to trustees, attached to the strategic priorities update as well as a running document. One thing that I would like to draw trustees' attention to is that on March 31st, 2026, trustees will be meeting with school administrators and senior administrators to discuss our strategic priorities and goals for the 2026-27 school year. And the priorities developed there will also serve as the foundation for the next 4-year division plan. So we look forward to meeting with all of you during that day to do that work. Aside from that, I'm prepared to answer any questions that trustees may have.
Is that here at the church?
That's here.
Any questions on strategic priorities? Okay, if not, we'll move on to vice principal announcements. Mr. Gale.
Thank you, Chair. Through the Chair, I just wanted to share the news of our 3 new hires into our administrative team. Throughout some moves that occurred this year in planning for the 2026-2027 school year, we had identified the need for 3 different vice principals to be hired. One at Mother Teresa School, one at St. Patrick's Elementary School, and then the last at St. Mary's Middle School. For next school year, we're very pleased to report that we've hired all 3 of those positions. Mr. Brendan Lutz being successful at St. Mary's, Renee Mealing at St. Patrick's School, and Stephanie Grisbrook at Mother Teresa School. So on behalf of the senior administration, we just wish to congratulate those 3 individuals and welcome to our administrative team.
Any questions for Mr. Gale? Well, I think it was a very good.
It was good. We're very pleased with the candidates that applied and extremely impressed with the candidates that were successful.
Yeah, it's good for the district. Okay, communication reports. Darren.
My report is attached, just highlighting our substitute teacher appreciation week, that's this week. And, St. Mary's SpongeBob musical. I, had the opportunity to go to the school and watch their gymnasium rehearsals, and it's just another absolute gem of a show. So if you get a chance to see it, you should see it. It's funny. They have bubbles. They have like really cool set and costumes this year, and they're having a lot of fun with it. So, and then the analytics for
It's SpongeBob, right?
SpongeBob, yeah. And I didn't know what that would be like. It's wonderful so far.
Okay, any questions for Darian? If not, we will move on to Monsignor McCoy field trip request. Dr. Zerchi.
Thank you, Chair, and through the Chair to trustees, at the October 14th board meeting in 2025, the board approved the Monsignor McCoy High School trip to Spain. Unfortunately, due to a number of factors, that trip has been canceled, and so Monsignor McCoy is now requesting approval to have the trip moved to a trip going to Toronto from May 12th to the 18th, 2026. This is outside our normal approval window. However, given the cancellation of the other one, our field trip committee did meet, and we went through the process, and we determined that the trip meets all of the requirements there. While in Toronto, the students will be giving 2 performances. They'll be attending a workshop at Wilfrid Laurier University. They'll be attending a professional concert and evening musical performances, and they'll also have a chance to do some sightseeing in Toronto and Niagara Falls. And so the recommended motion for the trustees, should you decide to accept this proposal, is that be it resolved that the Board of Trustees for the Medicine Hat Catholic Board of Education approve the Monsignor McCoy High School trip to Toronto on or about May 12th to the 18th, 2026, and approval is subject to the list of items there, which includes the final itinerary and I can provide any last documents that they have. So it's my recommendation to the board that that would be approved as presented.
If I can have someone make that motion. Mr. West, thank you. Any discussion? Questions? May 12th to the 18th, is that over a long weekend or what? I never even looked that up. It's got it now. Because normally these things happen over Easter holidays.
Normally they do. I think, I'm not sure, Chair, if that's what they want to do, but I think they basically found a provider that was able to accommodate a trip.
Okay. I mean, that wouldn't stop me from voting for this, but I just wondered.
I'm not sure when the one weekend is.
It is the 18th is Victoria Day.
Okay. So they're not missing a whole lot of school then to do this. Okay, all in favor? Okay, and then the next one, St. Pat's School Restricted Reserve, Mr. McPherson.
Thank you. The principal of St. Patrick's School is requesting use of their school accumulated surplus from the restricted reserve. It's for $23,800, and it's related to the school library, staff room, as well as classroom adjustments. The principal of the school has, in the attachment, has outlined the proposal as well as what's a very well detailed listing of where the funds are going to be expended on. The school does have the funds within their restricted reserve. It will substantially deplete the reserve, but the school does have the funds and feels it's worthwhile. So the motion would be it resolved that the Board of Trustees for the Medicine Hat Catholic Board of Education approve the St. Patrick's School request for the use of $23,800 from the St. Patrick's School Restricted Reserve.
Okay, if I can get someone to make that motion. Mr. Helen?
no question.
Go ahead.
Through the chair to Greg. So the unrestricted, that's money that we've given them, not the money that they've gained on their own through fundraising and through their going after school program, for example, Milk Club and that kind of thing. Is that correct?
Through the chair to trustee Helmut, that's correct. It's the school-based reserve, not the school-generated fund.
I just my other question would be, is there any reason, and I'm okay with it, but is there any reason why they didn't take some money out of that? I don't know what's in that account, so I don't have any idea where they are in terms of that.
So through the chair to trustee Helmut, I didn't interrogate in terms of why SBDM versus SGM. The request was to use the SBDM. The funds that he's asking for would meet the requirements for the use of the SBDM account.
My only question was, is there a formula or anything where we have to have a certain amount of reserve in that account? Because I saw how close it was to draining.
So for the division account, there's no minimum number. There's a suggestion that the school board have 5 operating days.
Right.
Not as much. But from the ministry's point of view, they're looking at keeping those reserve funds low, and we're fully meeting the ministers.
Yeah, I just wondered if a school can deplete their fund, then that's okay.
They can. It doesn't give them a little wiggle room in something that's
Right. Okay, all in favor? Okay, board committee reports. ATA, we don't have a report. QP, we don't have a report. Teacher board advisory, support. Okay, we'll just go down here. I guess the only report that's in here is the parent association. You're looking at me like, no. Parent association, I have a report there attached from our last meeting. If there's any questions, I can answer that. Again, it was a very good meeting. It's really great to meet with these people that come to parent association. They always have some really good stuff to say. All right.
Chair.
Yep.
If I may just circle back to trustee West's question, the Eagle Butte students do pay the same fee that the Monsignor students pay.
Okay.
I figured so, like when Hannah and I were coaching and we had the odd kid come from the public system in charge, so it wasn't school, we actually planned to do that the day, but anyway, I figured.
Thank you, Mr. McPherson. All right, key messages. What are our key messages coming out of here? Do we have?
So I have those ready from the reports, just depending on how everything went. So I was going to send those out right following.
Okay, yeah, works for you. And then if there's any key messages that you guys would like to include right now, we can do that, or you can send them to Chelsea as well. Going out to the public. All right, we will go to our closing prayer, Mr. West.
In the Father, and the Son, and the Holy Spirit, amen. Holy Mary, we thank you for walking with us through the work of this meeting. We place all our discussions, our hopes, and our challenges into your care. Through your intercession, may everything we have done today bear good fruit for the students, families, and staff we serve. Teach us to leave here with hearts open to God's will, ready to serve with love, wisdom, and peace. We entrust our Catholic school division once again to your gentle hands. Guide us always closer to Jesus. Amen.
Thank you. So this meeting is adjourned.
Chair, it's a good meeting. Good meeting.
Oh.